Graduates, wagwan, wagwan. How is everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Let me hail up everybody that's in the classroom so far. You understand? I love it when I turn up early like this, that's very nice. All right. So big up yourself, Marenchas. My sister on the dip on the beat. I love that. Let me pin Norma's comments. Yes, indeed. Right. So let me heal up everybody first and foremost. So who we having a class today? Vanessa, my member, big up yourself. No react. Hey, Marsha Lee, good afternoon. Dion, you are on. Love that. Hazel Bradford, up, up. Millicent Myers, big up yourself. As Norma says, welcome to class. Like, share, and subscribe. Click the bell and select all. Thank you. Dawn, big up yourself, Marencha. Indeed. Do remember to like up the live. Bruce and TJ channel. You reach from the time you hear the bell, you run straight on. I love that. Big up yourself. Alexia, how you doing? It is what it is. Happy Monday. Andreen Ferguson, hello, Bayesian girl. Big up yourself, Pottinger Naturals. Big up yourself, Donna Lawrence, Marsha Lee Brown. Big up yourself. Rock and Commune, everyone. Pottinger Naturals. Yes, you missed my live earlier. It was a really kind of early one. So I don't blame you. It's not my regular time, is it? Kerry, what's going on, sis? You just started money. Now you're gonna have to catch up on two. I say go. Big up yourself, Pam Blessing. Yes, yes, we're sticking to the topic at hand, indeed. Greetings, Donna. Big up yourself, Bayesian girl, my member. Blessings. Girls are nice. Well, go on, sis. Good night, good night. MGM. Wasn't expecting a live today. Well, this is my second one, actually. Blue skies, on train, tuning in. Love that. Mhm. So, yes, we are going to continue our discussions because one of the things that I think that people miss is the fact that oftentimes content creators that are going through challenging times that they don't necessarily want to disclose, they struggle to actually remove this from their content because no matter how much they try to, somehow whatever they're going through emotionally will come through. And a big question that everybody's asking is what's going on in the work in the mindset of Crissy during this time. We've already seen that in the last video that CMR did. She was very much seated in the front of the vehicle. And I found it so hypocritical that there was this need to pretend as though it was a daddy and daughter date or a daddy and daughter day out, gone out shopping. When the mother was also very much there. Now, obviously, it's clear that she didn't necessarily want to be a part of this vlog. Um, she didn't want to necessarily be identified, but somehow in the editing process, they left in, and I don't know if this is deliberate or tactical on CMR's part, but they left in the part where when they went to get the melons and the little one is there, all excited, and she's trying to get her dad to zip up her jacket. And they left in the part where she's blatantly sat in the front seat. So I have highlighted it. So for those of you who haven't seen the exact clip, you can go and look on my channel on Facebook, and you'll see that I've highlighted two screenshots where it's blatant that she sat in the front seat while they're doing this fake vlog, you know? And there's really and truly no need, Crissy, for you to hide yourself. We're very much aware of the fact that you are engaging with this this man. He is the father, the biological father of your children. And at the end of the day, you have to communicate, you have to exchange details, you have to make arrangements around the kids. It is a perfectly normal thing. Now, what message are you trying to send by pretending as though you're not very much there? Is it that you don't necessarily want to holistically identify with a man with such a stain against his character? While behind the scenes, you're clearly supporting him. Now, that gives off such bad vibrations in terms of whether or not you're an ethical human being and that you are a woman who stands by what she truly believes. I'm just saying. You see all over social media that now people are going into the comments wherever you're advertising and telling your contractors not to use your image on anything. Now, it was mentioned on Vibes Studio, but I had already seen that video. She had on the black curly wave, kind of body wave or water wave wig. And underneath that video, everybody was saying she shouldn't be used. I saw it. I liked a couple of the comments. Said she should not be used because she represents, she stands by this man. And that video has proven exactly what the audience has highlighted, that you do, in fact, stand by your husband despite whatever it is that's going on. Now, you must know the reason for that, Crissy. I know that had I been in your shoes, my reaction would be different, but I'm not in your shoes. So I'm not going to speak as though I know what's going on in your head. But honestly, the audience is curious as to how you can stomach this man around your girl children. Because, okay, the person who came out with the allegation was your stepdaughter, but surely a part of you in the back of your head must be quite nervous for the rest. I don't know. Maybe you have no feelings towards that at all. And God forbid that it should ever get there. Right? But we're talking about maternal instincts here. And the normal maternal instinct is to protect your offspring from harm. And maybe that's why you were present on the day when they were doing their vlogging, because you were there in supervisory capacity. That would have shown perhaps that you were being responsible around your little girl. Maybe because there's an element of doubt. But at the end of the day, as I said, the reasoning is yours and yours alone. But I've noticed that you've gone into your Instagram quite deeply. People may drink one cinnamon and mint tea, it nice. Me get it from Jamaica, but people, one thing me not like is a powder tea. And really, I should have used my you know that thing, what do you call it, the filter, and suppress the cinnamon in at the bottom of the cup. I mean, I do it, and me say the powder what me have to fight through for drink it, but it's still nice. So if you hear me sipping like a real Jamaican girl, if you hear me a sip, I chew me a sip of one cinnamon and mint tea. Big up yourself, cut and four cakes. Tina bent to the good cake them. Yeah, so you've got into your Instagram quite deeply. I've noticed that, and you're starting to go on and on about, you know, your readings, and the particular readings that you are doing at the moment caught my attention, because I was like, you're very preoccupied with this particular author. You read a lot from Joyce Meyer. And I was like, I wonder why she chose Joyce. I just wondered for a moment. I think your latest post was about the confident woman, a devotional that's written by Joyce Meyer. And the confident woman is really a book that is birthed out of Joyce Meyer's experience. And I wanted to identify what that experience was and why it is that so many of your recommendations, even on Amazon, were written by this author. And do you know what I found? I'm going to play what I found. And forgive me, people, if afterwards I have to cut this out, because I don't know if anybody else on YouTube has this. But from what I can see, it's not there, but you never know. You know, I probably haven't searched deep enough. But I am going to play this because I want my audience to hear, and I want you to listen very, very, very carefully to what Joyce has to say. And let me know your thoughts in the comments, because as I said, often when influencers are going through things that they don't necessarily want to disclose, clues are evident in the things they post, no matter how much they try to withhold information. You understand? I mean, the aim of the devotional is to inspire women. It's about building confidence and independence. And I'm wondering, is Crissy's intent to be independent eventually of this man or not? We'll see. But let me let you listen to this. I'm gonna have to bring my phone. I'm not using my speakers because my speakers give way too much trouble more time. I can't bother with it. But I'm going to bring close to the microphone this video. Hold on. And I want you to give me a thumbs up if you can hear everything well. Okay.
If you've heard much of my teaching, you know that I come from a background of being sexually abused by my father. And so talk a lot about my relationship with him and, you know, how hard some of that was. But my mother.
Can you hear that? Can you hear that? Give me a thumbs up first, because I'm not going to carry on if you can't hear it. I'd rather connect it to my, actually, let me just do that anyway. Okay. Hang on a minute. I'm going to connect it to my Bluetooth speaker and then play it again in the microphone. All right. So just hold on a second. Let me All right, I think I'm connected now. All right, so I'm going to let you listen again from the beginning, okay?
If you've heard much of my teaching, you know. So talk a lot about relationship with him and some of that. And also part of this because she knew what he was doing, but she didn't do anything about it. And if you want to know the absolute truth, I'm having a harder time getting over that than she did, because to be honest, I still don't understand. I have no comprehension on how to do it. I don't get, but I do know that she is a friend of my father and feel that they keep a lot of crazy things. And nobody paid him sexual abuse. They were very talking about incest. Back in the day when I was going through this. And finally, after 30 years after this happened to me, my mother finally apologized to me.
Hey, it was sounding better before. It's better without the Bluetooth. Okay, let me take it off then. All right, all right. Because I think what it will do is it will read it as surround sound. Okay, so let me go again without the Bluetooth. If you're saying it's better without the Bluetooth,
teaching, you know that I come from a background of being sexually abused. So
thumbs up if you can hear that.
my mother was also part of this because she knew what he was doing and she didn't do anything about it. And if you want to know the absolute truth, I have had a harder time getting over that even than what he did, because to be honest, I still don't understand. I have no comprehension how a mother could do that. I don't get it. But I do know that she was afraid of my father, and fear will make you do a lot of really crazy things. And nobody heard of sexual abuse. There was no talk about incest back in the days when I was going through this. And finally, after 30 years after this happened to me, my mother finally apologized to me, and she said, I just couldn't face the scandal. Couldn't face the scandal. So
You heard that? You heard what I'm gonna pull it right up, especially now that you're saying it's better now. I'm gonna pull it right up and I want you to listen because this is the author that Crissy is very preoccupied with at the moment. Very preoccupied with. She's literally churning out and reading everything that this woman is writing. And I want you to listen because sometimes things are playing out right in front of your face, audience, right in front of your face. And because people don't look deeply, they miss clues, they miss details. So I'm going to pull it up again.
if you've heard much of my teaching, you know that I come from relationship with him and how hard some of it was. But my mother was also part of this because she knew what he was doing and she didn't do anything about it. And if you want to know the absolute truth, I have had a harder time getting over that even than what he did, because to be honest, I still don't understand. I have no comprehension how a mother could do that. I don't get it. But I do know that she was afraid of my father, and fear will make you do a lot of really crazy things. And nobody heard of sexual abuse. There was no talk about incest back in the days when I was going through this. And finally, after 30 years after this happened to me, my mother finally apologized to me, and she said, I just couldn't face the scandal.
I just couldn't face the scandal. It's mad, isn't it, Random? It's completely crazy. I just couldn't face the scandal. She's talking about the fact that her mother knew what her father was doing and did nothing about it. Now, I want you to keep listening.
Couldn't face the scandal. So God gave me a grace really not to hate her, but I guess I would have always thought, but I didn't love her. But now I know that I did love her. I didn't feel loving toward her, but I
Yes, Millicent.
because when she became older and couldn't care for herself, we took care of her for 15 years in nursing home with visits, taking her to doctors, making sure she had nice clothes, let her get her hair done every week at the beauty shop there. I mean, we did what Jesus would have had us do. I never had the feelings of wanting to. Actually, my mother actually asked me one time, and I hope this doesn't sound too bad, but I'm all about truth. And she just said to me,
sorry, Random. They deleted that because you typed a name. Norma, we're not deleting the name of Crissy or CMR in this instance. What we're asking people to do is to make sure that whatever they're referring to, they do not say the words he is guilty. You say you believe he is guilty. That's very different. You believe the child's statement. That's very different. Now, what I want you to particularly listen to, graduates, I want you to listen to the perspective of Joyce. She's basically saying that despite the fact that her father did what he did and her mother knew about it, she basically was inspired through Christ to continue to care for her mother, to make sure her mother had everything that she needed, to clothe her mother, to bring her mother to medical facilities, keep her fed, all of that, despite knowing that this mother was an enabler of her abuser. Now, what I'm going to say to you is this. I am looking at Crissy and I'm trying my best not to despise everything about her as a mother and how she's reacting to this case. Because a part of me still wants to believe that there is no way a mother would not want to protect her children. And a part of me wants to still believe that she's capable of protecting her daughters. Um, but when I'm looking at where she's getting her source of inspiration and the approach, it's unlocked in my head that there's something more going on in her mind in terms of an emotional and spiritual battle about how to deal with this person who has in fact totally embarrassed her and dragged her name through the mud due to his choices in his life. And also, it's really about how to react in a situation like this in order to maintain her balance mentally and emotionally. So she's drawing from Joyce Meyer's teaching. And one of the things that she's saying is that she's following this whole Christ-like approach of loving one's enemy. Now, say that not sit well with me, because you don't know, say me no one church person, right? But let me just pull that up again so you can hear it.
Care for herself. We took care of her for 15 years in a nursing home with visits, taking her to doctors, making sure she had nice clothes, let her get her hair done every week at the beauty shop there. I mean, we did what Jesus would have had us do. I never had the feelings of wanting to. Actually, my mother actually asked me one time, and I hope this doesn't sound too bad, but I'm all about truth. And she just said to me, how do you feel about me? Do you love me? And I said, I don't love you as somebody should be able to love their mother, because you didn't take care of me. You weren't a mother to me. But I said, I do love you as someone that Jesus loves, and I will always make sure that you're taken care of, and I will not mistreat you. It just was on my heart to tell you about this today, because I think so often we think because we don't feel a certain way towards somebody that we can't love them. God is not asking me to feel all these wonderful feelings for somebody who has mistreated me or not been there for me, but he is asking me to pray for them, to not talk bad about them. Love covers a multitude of sins. It doesn't expose, it covers.
And how many times have we heard her say, God is love? How many times have we heard her repeat, God is love? Let me tell you guys this. How one person chooses to deal with trauma and chooses to deal with abuse is not necessarily how it's going to help you to heal. Because this is what worked for Joyce. And this is why I always worry when people put their band-aid on somebody else's wound. This is how Joyce has chosen to deal with her trauma. How is Crissy thinking that she can follow through with this, given her very position in life as an influencer is beyond me? But clearly there are a group of women, especially, who have this kind of mindset that leave it all to God. It's all about God. Make God handle it. Right? You notice that we've picked out the fact that Crissy was still feeding him, even in the throes of the investigation. Right? Picks other bloggers, I don't know how true this is, but other bloggers have stated that the furnishings in his house are the old things that used to be in their house currently. I don't know how true that is. But by bit, she's still providing care for a man that has been accused by her very own daughter. And Joyce has said that the mother who knew about it, she did the same for. Now keep listening.
Men, do you know how hard it is not talk about people? Does anybody in the building besides me know how hard to not do that? Now, I share my story, but I have a purpose in what I'm doing. And there's nothing wrong with you telling something if you have a purpose in it, but just for the point of gossip or to make somebody look bad, you can't do that. And then here's the last thing, and this probably gets to be the hardest.
Bam! Listen to what Joyce just said, You can't do that. You can't talk about somebody. You can't say certain things just to make a person look bad. So she's training herself to remain mute on the subject based on the teachings that she's taken in from Joyce. She's training herself not to speak in order to make her family, to make her kids look bad, to make her husband look bad, whichever perspective she would have taken it. I just want to point out to the source. So listen.
If that person has a need, oh boy, I better preach backwards on this. If that person has a need, and you can actually meet that need, whether it's some kind of care, some kind of time, some kind of help, some kind of money. I mean, unless you know from God that He does not want you to do it. See, a few years ago, I made a transition that was really helpful to me. When somebody needs help, I don't pray like this anymore. Now, God, if you really want me to do that, I mean, God, if you really, really want me, I mean, I don't want to do this, God. I don't think it's fair for you to ask, but if you really want me to do this. I mean, I needed like a trumpet blast and 3 angels and 2 prophecies and 4 confirmations. It's amazing how much confirmation we need when we don't want to do something. And how little confirmation.
And hence the reason why she has to be so busy reading, so busy trying to every day reinforce this mindset. Crissy, it's clear to us, it's clear to the audience, it's clear to everybody that you are in turmoil. You're thinking that by burying how you feel and trying to pursue God's way, this is your way of handling it. You're trying not to persecute, not to judge. You keep using God is love. But we could see from that outburst that you made, from a simple statement that was made about vocabulary in your chat, how you burst. And trust and believe. You can't necessarily walk this path yet because Joyce herself has had her moments that she bursts and she not necessarily preach about it. You understand?
I've never said that before, but that was good. I was like, I'll say that. Well, I'm going to make your life a lot easier. You don't need to do that anymore. From now on, you just say to God, I'm going to help everybody I can unless you tell me not to. Anybody bold enough for that? Okay. You don't need to have permission from God to meet a need. You don't need to have permission from God to be a blessing to somebody, to help somebody. You don't need a word from God. You don't need confirmation. Confirmation is all over the Bible. God blesses His enemies. There's nothing that speaks to an unbeliever louder than seeing somebody that they have mistreated or disrespected being good to them and meeting a need when their back is up against the wall. I can tell you that was the thing that finally broke the hardness off of my father's heart, which allowed him then, when he was 80 years old, to receive Christ. 80 years old. He had 3 years of knowing Jesus before he died. And I don't think it would have ever happened if God wouldn't have given us the grace to love him, even though he didn't deserve it. I didn't feel good about him. I didn't enjoy being around him. I didn't get excited about going to visit them. I wasn't crazy about giving them my money. I'm trying to be honest with you.
Exactly, random.
Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, with all your power. Come on, let's stop just underlining the scriptures and sounding spiritual in church when we sing songs. Let's get this out in the street.
All right. So she's not only decided that she was gonna, oh, who said that Joyce is dead? She didn't pass. Who said that? Hectic, is that good thing? Let me see a comment. She hasn't passed. Please be very careful. Not to misinform. But anyway, she's made it very clear that she forgave the father, that she still cared for the father, she still showed the father love, and all of that allowed the father to find himself back to, to God, and to give his life to God 3 years before he passed. You understand? But let me tell you something. As much as I'm hearing all the spiritual side of this story, and I'm hearing all the godliness and the Jesus is love and the God is love part of it, do you know what's missing? Do you know what is missing from this story? Accountability. That's what's missing. Accountability, justice for Joyce herself in the earthly realm. Now, you guys know exactly how I feel about religion. But for those of you who are new to my platform, I'm going to reiterate exactly how I feel. I think that religion is a tool that's used to keep the masses submissive, particularly Christianity, which is based on a lot of hierarchy in my eyes. I believe that you are capable of being God-fearing. I believe that you're capable of loving God, believing in God without the structure of religion. And I think that a lot of the scriptural teachings were very influenced by mankind and politics. That's my belief, and I'm not here to influence yours. If you wholeheartedly believe in everything in the Bible, so be it. I'm not here to debate that today. But one of the downfalls of following through with such indoctrinated teaching is that it stops you from acting within the laws of the land on many occasions. How do you think that we end up with cults everywhere, where people go off into remote areas and try to live their life free of the legislation of the land, and eventually it ends in a very disastrous way? Because people say that the law of God does not necessarily align with the law of man, leaving out the part of the Bible that says clearly that you must ascribe to the law of the land. It does say it. And if you are supposed to ascribe to the law of the land, then unlawful acts must be reported and, of course, receive due diligence of investigation and a result. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go in your favor, as we've clearly seen from Jay's case. But that father was able to live out the rest of his life in La La Land without accountability, and then he brought his life to Christ. So I'm wondering, Crissy, with all this talk that even CMR himself is busy talking about, I went to church and every message connected and every message made me think and reflect. Hoping and praying that your husband is rescued by the Lord and changes his life completely, just so you can hold on to him. I'm wondering, I'm going to say, from what I've heard, what I've read, that despite being in church, a lot of these men who have got a predatory nature continue to target minors, even within church. That church has never stopped these men from acting out. Come on, look at the Catholics. Big example. Look at the Catholics. Hmm? Not just what day we have one priest we have to step down for all of the things them we that do with the little boy them in our church. You understand? It doesn't stop anything necessarily because prayer without works is dead. Okay, Lynette, that's all right. Lynette said that she thought she had passed. That's fine. It's okay to get correction as well. Sometimes we mishear information and we repeat it, so we have to be careful. So yes, Joyce is still very much alive. So as I was saying, prayer without works is dead. And if you just put 100% of your faith in this man, just going to church alone, and him not putting those teachings into practice, because I'm not saying it's not a start, but if he's not putting those teachings into practice to fix his head and his mindset when it comes to, and I'm not going to say when it comes to what was alleged, because that was alleged, but certainly when it comes to sexual immorality and promiscuity, which has been proven, you are going to end up in a very shaky path, a slippery slope, right back to or worse than where this whole thing began. Because as much as Joyce come out here and she preached this and she has said this, you don't know how it stopped, when it stopped, or how many years necessarily from just that clip. You'd have to really go back into the vault because she did a whole video and it is on YouTube. And it was stated that the father had done what he had done over 200 times. So you can just imagine how long this lasted. How she was nervous to even sit in his lap for fear of what might take place. So I did find it interesting, Crissy, that you chose Joyce as your mentor, so to speak, during your times of trouble. And it showed me a little bit of an insight as to where your mind is at. As to where your mind is at and what you're thinking about. It's helped me to not be as, I would say, as condemning of you. Because if this is your faith and this is what you're working on in order to get through this, it shows me that you have got some iota of humanity. Something is still there. And despite the fact that you haven't come out and you haven't addressed, something is still there. Because why Joyce, who has been through something so similarly aligned to what's happening in your household? Because you're looking for voices of experience to guide you through. But be careful not to choose the easiest path to try to keep it all together. Because the easiest path is to draw on the mantle of Christ. And that mantle of Christ can be worn genuinely, but it can also be worn under false guise. Kind of like Little Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf. Because remember, the Big Bad Wolf ate the grandmother and was lying in the bed in the grandmother's gowns. And the child went into the room and the Big Bad Wolf said, "What big eyes you have." Or at least the child said to the wolf, "What big eyes you have, grandmother. What big teeth you have." And the Big Bad Wolf devoured Little Red Riding Hood. I wonder if you guys know that story is actually about men being predators on little girls. That's the symbolism behind it. Bet you didn't know that. But I'm saying, you can put on that false mantle. You can do vlogs and say, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, I'm going to church. But if you are not repaired from the inside out, it's only a matter of time before things manifest again. And how are you going to safeguard your children from ensuring that there is no repetition of another allegation or worse? Notice I'm saying an allegation because we still don't know if he's guilty or innocent, although we believe the child. I'm hoping that deep down you believe the child too. But you are taking on the teachings of Joyce, whose situation can closely align to yours, which I found very interesting. Crissy, prayer without works is dead. And no matter how much you think that you can give him a chance once he becomes a Christian or once he gives himself to God, there are many who are walking around in the church who still carries out their dirty deeds. How do you know it's genuine? Are you willing to use your stepdaughter as a sacrificial experiment to see if he has, by bringing him back into your space in the immediate sense, or even in the long term sense without any kind of professional intervention? And even so, if the government, with all of its resources, with all of its wealth, with all of its connections, have struggled and failed to repair predators even within prison, what makes you think you can? Because they have done a million experiments. They have done so many programs, counseling upon counseling. And the sickness still remains to the point where they have to go to the extreme and remove the organ of offense for the men. Hmm? What makes you think that just by going and shouting hallelujah and praying to God and saying God is love, that that kind of mindset will be repaired just like that? And are you willing to test it with your child? Remember, a dismissed and a drop case does not mean innocent. And this is the part that I want you guys to always remember. Likewise, it does not mean guilty. We are aware. But the character of your partner, Crissy, has shown that he has a penchant for young, naive, barely legal little girls. Hmm? And it makes it worrisome that on top of that, which we have already discovered from last year, we now have this allegation coming to the fore. And then on top of that allegation, we now have a dismissal, which means no trial, no deep interrogation, no real evidence. And that child is going to be in that household feeling as though she wasn't listened to, feeling as though she created problems and a rift, feeling as though you chose the man over her because you were very much in his company. It's not like you said, listen to me, brother. You come collect your picnic in a McDonald's. Me nah go in a no vehicle with you. Me will sit down over there, so. And you sit down over there, so, because me have to keep an eye on my picnic. That way, definitely no camera can catch me. Because me dey far from you. We're coming at two different car. None of that is happening. You're quite comfortable sat beside your partner. You're quite comfortable, which means that if you are either forgiving him or have forgiven him, or you believe your daughter is a liar, your support and alignment lands with him. So that little girl is left marginalized in this situation. You understand? No, we are not aware as to whether or not he's back in the home. I can't speak on what I don't know or what has not been revealed through their blogs. So on that, I will keep mute. Many people have assumed he has to be there, he must be there. I'm not going to make any assumptions. When the evidence is clear, it will be clear because they have to carry on making their money. This is how they live. So we are going to see further blogs that's going to give us even more clues, more information. No matter how much they try and hide it, no matter how much they scrub it up, edit it out, it's going to be present. It's going to be present. But Crissy, don't let just teachings of Joyce fool you into a false sense of security through spirituality. Don't be fooled. Because if your child has not lied and the case has been dismissed, but there is just not enough evidence, you will end up with a monster in your household. And God alone is not enough. Because remember, there are times when He allows man's willpower to demonstrate who they are. And God forbid it is at the risk of even worse things happening. As you can clearly see, he's still in his other place based on the camera works, right? He was there brushing his teeth, getting ready to go to church. And notice that he kept saying we. Whenever he speaks in plural as though he's not doing it himself. However, I did notice that when he reflected on going to church on the weekends or whatever, whenever he just drive by and just go and sit in the back, he said I. But for that particular Sunday, he said we. So, and that's a church where they are known. So I don't know if they went together, if it was him and the daughter, I don't know. But he was speaking in plural when he was talking about that particular church experience when he attended. A lot of these people who do corrupt things out here and want to pull their followers along suddenly start to reach for God. Me not play with God them way there, you know. Me no one Christian. But me fear him. And I fear even speaking his name and not necessarily being 100% following of his teachings or of his word. Because God a God. You understand? And I don't know how some people are able to use God in a way to lead their followers on into thinking that they are making righteous choices and they're doing the right thing and they're living in an upright way. When there's all manners of demons that they're still fighting. And nothing wrong with fighting demons, you know. It's better than embracing them, right? But all I'm saying is that it's not a quick fix situation. It's not a quick fix scenario. There is much work to be done. But that's not my concern. Whatever Seymour chooses to do to fix himself or to fix his situation is not my concern. He's a grown man. He does what he needs to do. I don't care. But where any child is concerned, that's my priority. And my priority is to question your mindset around the protection of your stepdaughter. What are your intentions? Even to have somebody re-enter the household after a child has, let's go down the route of she told a lie. Yes? You know I don't believe it, but let's go down it. Even to go back into the household with a child who is capable of such is not smart. Because what if she tell lie again and do it more brutal? But as I said, I don't believe she lied. But I'm giving you the scenarios, Crissy, in terms of where your mindset might be at. And still the risk and the vulnerability is still attached to your stepdaughter, who has already witnessed this man putting hands on you. There is going to be an elevated fear factor. It was so interesting in the last few blogs and content how she had this strange smile on her face every time when you took your pictures that didn't look real. But, you know, during the interaction, she seemed to be happy. She seemed happier than we have ever seen her. But ever so often, the tensions did come to the forefront. I will never stop speaking about when you took those girls to the meet and that little girl told you straight up, oh my God, I got two B's and an A. Or was it two A's and a B? Doesn't matter. It was A and B. Look at my grades. And you completely ignored her. And you gave her no accolade, no marmalade, as DMG would have say. You gave her no big up at all. All you did was focus on the biological children that you have with this man. As though you were trying to say, it's not your moment. I don't understand. But just know that the public are aware that one day she will grow. And all this blogging that you're teaching her, all this vlogging, everything, she'll be able to do on her own one day. And she'll have an avenue to speak without your interference, without your involvement, without anybody bridling her, without anybody influencing her. And she's going to speak her truth. And the audiences will be there to listen. But in the meantime, we as the bloggers can only observe how this plays out. Yes, the case has been dismissed. There is no guilty, there is no innocent. And many out there would like bloggers like myself to stop talking about it. And I'm here to tell you we are not going to stop talking about it because it's still an unresolved situation. It's still unresolved. What we do have to be careful of is to make sure that we're not defaming and we're not slandering. But nothing and no one can stop us from asking pertinent questions. Crissy, Joyce may have had a similar situation happening in her household. But prayer without works is dead. Anyway, graduates, make sure you like up the live. I hope you have found today's class informative and it has given you food for thought. Please ensure that you subscribe to my channel if you are new and hit the notification bell, not once, but twice, so that when you do get a notification for the new content, you are first in line in the classroom. All right, let me go through some of the comments now before I go to make sure that I haven't missed any of the important things that you have said, graduates. Because you know, sometimes me just go on and so on and so on. Nana, stop talking about these people. They're not important. But I clearly am because you're on my page. Okay, bye. Right. Let me keep going. Let me see who else is there. It's so interesting how the haters are getting less. Have you not noticed that, guys? What does that tell you? What does that tell you? We have less and less people on here who are being disrespectful, more and more people engaging, and more people talking. So godliness based on her own interpretation. What's missing is wisdom and common sense. Indeed, this is sad. Thank you, HTK, for this live with Joyce Myers. This is supposed to shake up. It will shake her up because she really needs to listen. And then let's see this. I was emmed when I was young, and it affected until today. I will advocate for her until she gets the justice she deserves. Sonny, I'm so sorry you had to go through this, and I do hope you have found a way to heal despite the fact there's so many who are going through this. Guys, I don't know if you have watched the video about the what's his name again? Topical sitting another. Hold on there. And he put out a video that basically said that his step brother was the one who raped him. And he did a whole video that he put up about it. And he basically blew his entire the entire family out the water. And it was the first time he was speaking about it publicly. So when we say that this is not just a girl problem, this is also a boy problem. I want you to realize that this is a real thing. Yeah. And his situation was a little bit different because it was born out of not having the right parenting, not having the right support system and all of that. And as a result of that, too much access. Too much access. Mother have next man have picnic, and the picnic are the one we're grooming. You understand? So I want you guys to go and check out that video. May I try find the channel? I want you guys to check out that video. And I want you guys to really take it in. Hold on, let me tell you what it's called. Let me turn on the volume because I don't want to play it. Topical Juice. That's the channel on YouTube. And he literally has it up as I was essayed by my stepbrother, and him spell out the word them. So if you search for that, you will get the video. One good looking mixed race guy, and him a talk through all of the things that the boy do to him. And the parents would allow them up and leave them for play games together. And it's during those gaming sessions that it took place. So you understand, there's so many people coming out. My inbox is inundated with people who are sharing stories with me. It's almost overwhelming, right? Of the things that they have been through. So anybody who's got an issue with us talking about it, to hell with her now. Because we are out here making a difference with our platform. We are out here changing perspectives and getting people to think deeper. Some of you are not capable of thinking deeper and will never be capable of that. So we cast you aside as the lost soul. But we still don't give up. Because even some who were lost have messaged me and said they are now found. And that's through listening to platforms like myself, like Vibes TV, like OMGG TV, like SoFlo. Okay? So when you guys tell us to stop, you're only lighting the fire even brighter. You're only going to make it blaze even stronger. Because there are too many little girls and little boys who are silenced, who are walking around like muted and suppressed adults, full of trauma, going through things day in, day out, trying to cope with life, mental health problems, and all sorts as a result of what people who did not take accountability have done to them. Anyway, guys, light up the chat with the purple hearts. For me, please, as we exit. Light up the chat with the purple hearts as we exit, please, and thank you. And all the J for J's, and all the J for all the victims, and all the J's for all the survivors, because not all of them are victims. Some of them are damn survivors. Like we met 2 survivors yesterday, or was it the day before? I can't remember the day them are blending. But people, big up on a nice clean self, my graduates. Right? Yeah, as Tammy said, when you're going to watch the video, be prepared. Yes, it is very graphic. He didn't hold back, and it's clear that he's not monetized that video. He literally did that video to expose what took place with him. So do go over and watch it. The channel is called Topical Juice, and the title is I Was Essayed by My Step Brother. Big up on a nice clean self. Love and manners and respect, my graduates. This is your girl, Head Teacher K, and I'm out.